Hello everybody, a warm welcome to you all to Aura Shikshna's interactive Q&A session on careers in Merchant Navy. Today we have with us a special guest, Captain Melvin Sakrias, who is going to give us an insight with regard to various career options in Merchant Navy and also about his experiences as a mariner. Welcome Captain, and over to you.
Well, thank you for inviting me to such a webinar session. It's quite a new experience for me, to share my experiences as well as you have certain questions about Merchant Navy as a career. So anyway, once again, thankful for Aura Shikshna for arranging this session. Okay, before going into the detailed questionnaire session by Aura Shikshna, let me give a brief introduction about myself, which I feel it's the right thing to do before any other things. So, okay, myself, Melvin Zacharias, serving as captain in one of the reputed companies in India. And I've been out at sea for the past 18 years and now being a master since 2018. And I completed my master's license from the Amit University in Chennai. Thereafter, I cleared my DG shipping exams from Government of India and now sailing as master with one of the foreign company, which is operating from India. Thank you. And back to Madam for the further questions.
Yeah, all right. So when did you realize that you had a passion towards this maritime industry?
Okay, regarding the passion, when did I develop this passion for joining Merchant Navy, or rather opting Merchant Navy as a career, right? Okay, yeah. So right from my childhood, I've been hearing about ships and the Merchant Navy from my friends and from some of the few relatives who are already working in Merchant Navy. So during my childhood itself, I had an inclination towards joining this field. So that's how I became passionate and I really wanted to join Merchant Navy and become a captain once. So that was my dream. And yes, by God's grace, I was able to fulfill my dreams as now.
Great to know that you have fulfilled your passion.
Yes.
We all know that it's an exciting field, but there are a lot of myths associated with this profession. The general perception is that it's a glamorous field, mariners earn a lot of money. Is that true?
Well, talking about Merchant Navy, yes, it's of course a very glamorous profession, or rather, it's a very, very good profession according to me. So there are many reasons, and yes, there are certain things that people think about Merchant Navy only in the aspect of money, or rather only in the aspect of long sailings, and they have 6 months out at sea and they get leave for another 6 months. So this kind of general view or general thinking about Merchant Navy is there, and everybody knows that that is a very, very good profession in terms of money. But it is not only that. Yes, at a younger age itself, you are earning quite a lot of salary, or so in one way, if you ask me, yes, Merchant Navy gives you a very good salary right from your small ages. At the age of maybe about 20, you join sea as a trainee, and later on by age of 22, you become a officer. So that time itself you will start earning at least about 1.5 to 2 lakhs per month till you are continuously sailing on board the ships. So yes, financially you are very stable, or you can stand on your own legs at a younger age. So it is, of course, financial stability is one of the very, very important part of your life these days. So yes, Merchant Navy is a glamorous profession. And the another fact is regarding the leave. Leave also you can take according to your discretion. Once you sail for about 4 months or 6 months or up to the company's contracts, you can come on land and then you can stay as long as you want. Yes, you are not paid during your leave in most of the companies, but at least you have the liberty to take the leave according to your wish. So that is what Merchant Navy is all about, regarding compared to any other profession where it is very monotonous and you are actually doing a 9 to 5 job or an 8 to 5 job where you just streamline to do some kind of particular job itself for quite a long period of time. So if you think about Merchant Navy, every day it's same, not same out at sea. It's different always. Every day you have new adventures, new things to face, and so all this kind of things adds charm to the Merchant Navy, and you are facing different sea every day. It's the sea is not same all the day. The weather, everything is changing. So obviously, it's a very, very nice profession for the people who are very adventurous and really do have passionate to sail. So that's what about Merchant Navy. So this is in general, you know.
Captain, you have done your nautical science degree. What exactly is this course and who can pursue this and what are the minimum eligibility criteria?
Well, I completed my plus 2 with physics, chemistry, maths, and English as the main subjects, and later on I joined training ship Rahman for doing my pre-C course, and later on I did, that is basically, you know, it's a long way up to getting a BSc Nautical Science degree. So that was the initial stage, and the organization, or not the organization, basically the study pattern during that time, in that time back in 2002, was a bit different rather compared to the present day of studying BSc Nautical Science. So basically after 12th, as I said, I did my pre-C course for 4 months and then later on completed 3 years of onboard training, and then I completed exams with Government of India called the Second Mates Foreign Going Certificate of Competency exam under the Director General of Shipping, and I took my certificate of competency to sail as second navigating officer on a merchant navy vessel. So later on, at the stage progresses and you acquire required seat time for giving the next rank exam, that is for chief mates foreign going, you can again appear for exams under the Director General of Shipping in MMD for chief mate certificate of competency or chief mate's license for foreign going vessels, and you can clear that exam. There is a preparatory course for that as well. So after doing that preparatory course, then again you appear for exams and clear the exams and you get a new certificate of competency. Similarly, at the end, again after a specific seat time requirement, you can give the master's exams with Government of India's Director General of Shipping. So ultimately you are provided with master's certificate of competency, which gives you the ability or gives you the approval for sailing as a captain or rather master on a merchant navy foreign flag vessel. So that is how the career progression is all about, and this is how I fetched my BSc Nautical Science, and as of now sailing as captain in one of the company. So who can pursue this career? So pursuing this career, the main thing is you should have passion for pursuing this career. So if you have a good passion for joining merchant navy, or rather you realize, or rather, see, nowadays there are so many organizations which actually tells you or guides you to reach specific professions, or rather try to find out whether this is the right profession for you. So always you can approach those kind of like the career guidance firms, which actually they can guide you whether this is the right profession. So basically anyone who likes to, or rather have passion towards merchant navy, can pursue this career, provided they have some minimum requirements, especially with regard to the medical requirements and also regarding the subjects wise, like the studies, the academics, before joining or before opting this career. So after 12th, anybody who has completed physics, chemistry, maths and English with more than 65% or rather 65% aggregate marks for the subjects can apply for joining as a deck cadet in any of the good companies, and later on apply in write the exams for maritime under the Maritime University, that is common entrance test conducted by the Indian Maritime University, and do the course and go back to the same company which selected you as a deck cadet and work as deck cadet trainees, and then later on you can go through the normal career progression pattern, you know. So that is how it is. And even the persons who has completed BSc physics, chemistry, maths or computer science with physics as one of the subjects in any of the 3 years with minimum 60% aggregate, and also with English as one of the subjects in their 12th standard, can even apply for this deck cadet position. So that is so those people can actually opt for this career. Not only career, especially the deck side. So coming into engine side, if you ask me, engine side people with the BTech degree like mechanical engineering, they can actually apply for the engineering side, and also for becoming an electrical officer, people who has done electronics and communication or electrical engineering or even electronics and telecommunication. So all this kind of degree holders, with the BTech degree holders, can apply for the position of electrician or rather electrotechnical officer on a merchant navy vessel. So these are the people who can apply or rather pursue the career in merchant navy in the officer side. So regarding the rating side, the people passing out from the 10th or even 12th they can apply for this rating section. So there is New Sea Training Maritime Academy in Goa and many other institutes. There are so many other institutes which gives training for rating section also. So you can always get into touch with the approved institutes in India, because normally all the institutes in India which is actually approved by the Director General of Shipping, you can go and do the courses. But make sure, as I said, always make sure this the institutes are genuine. It has got a approval from the DG approval, we say. If we ask the institute, obviously they are bound to tell you their DG approval number as well. So normally the good institutes are DG approved, and you can check regarding the campus selection options and campus selection, how good is the campus selections, or how good the companies are coming into these colleges for campus selection. And then later on you can join this colleges for doing the rating course as well.
Okay. I have a doubt. What is this IMU?
Okay, the IMU. IMU stands for Indian Maritime University. So basically, this Indian Maritime University came into existence by the Act of Parliament way back in 2008. It was actually a dream came true for all the merchant navy people or the maritime industry people in India, because earlier when I joined back in 2002, there was no university as such for maritime industry in India. So basically in 2008, basically in 2008 it came into existence through the Act of Parliament. And IMU, yes, Indian Maritime University. And the main objective of Indian Maritime University is to facilitate maritime trainings and research and other studies related. There are so many other studies, there are so many other things, but the main objective is to facilitate the studies, training, and research in the maritime industry.
What exactly is this pre-sea training course and is it expensive? Can any educational loans available?
Sea training course is a course which is mandatory for anyone joining a ship. That is very important, because it is a requirement under Director General of Shipping that whoever is going to join a ship for the job, they should undergo a minimum specified time pre-sea course. This pre-sea course timing vary for different kind of jobs which we are going to procure or we are going to opt on a vessel. Like for the deck cadets, the course is of different duration. For GP rating, it is different. For the catering staff, it is, catering people, maybe it is different, and electrical officers, it is different, engineers, it is different. So the duration may vary, but mandatorily they have to attend a pre-sea course, basically before going to the sea. That is pre-sea training. So before going on board a vessel, they should complete the training. And this course includes many of the international required courses which are under regulations. It's going on a ship requires so many courses to be completed based on international rules. So this kind of courses are also conducted along with the pre-sea training, which is basically so many other courses that is very mandatory for the working on a ship. So these courses are completed during pre-sea. And pre-sea course for the long-term pre-sea courses, yes, some of the institute do give support for procuring the loans. So it is not that every institute may help you, but some of the institutes do have options and they will help you to get the educational loan. It is not a problem, and educational loans you can easily avail. And this for any financially stable, or rather anybody can apply for this loan and get the seat in the college, and later on they can clear the exams and then later on pay the loan, because as I told you, the salary wise it is really good, and the repayment of the loan will not become a very bothersome or really a headache for the people once they are into a profession or into this job. So that's what I want to say. So don't worry much about the loan amount, because most of financial way,
people who would, after paying so much, if you're not getting a job. These are the main worries of a normal middle class family, people who really wish to come into this field.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, you
Yeah.
can take a loan, and if you are properly placed in a good company and you are going through the proper channels of how to go into this field, it is not that you take the loan and you give to some institute which doesn't have an approval and or some agents and everything, and you pay it and ultimately land in trouble. Then obviously you cannot
Okay.
do anything. But when you opt a profession, you understand about this profession, how to go in a proper channel. That is important, rather than going to any agents and getting the seats. This kind of things,
Yes,
if you
yes,
do,
yes. True, true.
there is high chance that you waste your
You'll
money
land
and
up-
ultimately you land up hunting job somewhere and no company is going
Yes,
to take
yeah,
you,
yeah,
and
true.
you will see that they see that guy has talked so much about merchant navy is good thing, but ultimately I land up in trouble, you know. So
Trouble.
the
Yeah,
channel,
of
the
course.
exams, everything has to be proper, and ask to the people who are knows about the companies, talk to them, is it a good company, and whether I should go to this college or not. Is that college good? Is it has an approval? And how is the like campus selections in the colleges, everything. And you have to appear for the entrance exams, common entrance exams conducted by the International Indian Maritime University. All these things you should know, and proper method. Then there is no chance that you are going in a very wrong way or you land up in trouble. So then you can get a job in a good company, then you can repay the loan also. So it's absolutely a very, very systematic and steady approach is needed, not jumping into the
Okay.
things, you know.
Things, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Various
Okay.
departments in a merchant cargo ship, preferably the organizational
mean-
structure.
Yeah, I understand. You mean to say that what are the organized, how the structure on a vessel, like the organizational structure and the various rankings and on a merchant cargo ship, right?
Yeah.
Various departments, everything. Okay.
Yeah,
Normally,
everything,
when we
yeah.
talk about merchant navy, generally the people are much concerned about merchant cargo vessels rather than passenger vessels, even though the passenger vessels also come into merchant navy line. But still, majority of the people who works are working on cargo ships, especially the officers, ratings, everybody who is working in India or even ashore are majority are into cargo ships. Cruise liners are there operating in India as well as abroad, quite a lot of cruise liners. But the thing is, majority are working in cargo ships. So basically, in general, if you see about cargo ships, there are basically 3 departments on a cargo ship. That is, first one is the deck department or the navigation department. Next one is technical or engine department. And next one is the catering department or the saloon department. So these are the 3 departments on a vessel. So in charge or the overall in charge of a vessel is always the captain, or we call him as master also, master or captain.
Captain.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. So, and below that you have the various below him, we have the various departments like engine department, deck department, and saloon. Even though the captain comes through the deck department towards that position, but when he reaches the position of a captain, he is an independent guy and he is in charge of the full responsibility of the vessel or the ship. Okay. And in charge of the head of the engine department or the technical department is chief engineer, and he is also very, very senior guy, just like a master, is very much close to or almost at the same level like master, you know, experience wise. Only for the hierarchy or a proper management of a vessel, that position is given just below a master, you know. So he is also equally important as a master, just like equally important as a master. So he is the head of the engine department, and at the same time, deck department head is chief officer. He is also known as second in command. In case of in case the captain is incapacitated due to any reason, he is the guy who is going to take over the position of a captain. So yeah. So he is second in command. We call our head of the deck department. So under deck department, under him, he has second mate or second officer. Then you have third officer or third mate. Then we have deck trainee or deck cadet, we call. And there is a subsection to this department, which is deck ratings, where they do the deck jobs and other various aspects of the vessel, you know, like navigational support. All these things are done by the deck support team or deck rating team. This is also there. And same like in the engine department, they have a subsection engine ratings where they assist the engineers basically for various day-to-day work on a vessel. And now the other section is the catering section or the saloon section, we call, which normally have the chief cook and the steward and all that. So these are the basic outline of a vessel, or the organizational structures. And as I said, the top overall in charge or any final decision making authority or final decision making rests with the master. He has the overall overriding authority for any of the situations.
Okay. Yeah. So I got an idea about it. There's a few authorized institutes in order to pursue this course. Yeah.
Okay. So course in the sense pre-C course, we can do it from many institutes in India. As I told you earlier, when you go for an institute, first of the thing you should understand regarding the Director General of Shipping approval, that we call it as DG approval, So whether the
DG approval is there, right?
Yes, Director General of Shipping approval. Each course, even in institute itself, you have to be very careful when you are doing a course. That particular course has to be given an approval. It is not that in a particular institute all the courses are approved by DG. Sometimes it can be there are certain courses which are not approved by the DG. But the institute overall, if you see, it's a very good institute. Everything is there, no problem. So basically, the courses has to be approved by the DG Shipping. So that is important. So, but this and all the institutes will clearly tell you there is no hide and seek game in it. If you ask it is having an approval, they will give you the approval number also if you want. So that is how it works. So see, for example, in toward the south, there are so many colleges like operating from Chennai, Cochin, etc. In Cochin, if you see, you have this Eurotech Maritime, which many of the courses conducted by them are DG approved. And even in Chennai, you have the IMU University. Even in Cochin, you have IMU University. The Cochin also, we have this IMU University, rather than Eurotech, you have IMU University in Cochin, as well as IMU University headquarters is in Chennai, and you have this universities in Delhi, everywhere, many of the places in India you have. And there are so many other institutes as well in India, especially like maritime private companies, institutes like Anglo-Eastern, Samudra, then you have something called as HIMT in Chennai, all these courses. These are some of the which I know, personally, I have been to this institute, so I can tell you these are good institutes. It's not that some bias or something, but I can tell you out of my experience. Then you have where I did my pre-C training, that is Training Ship Rahman. So it's one of the very old institute, and it is one of the good institutes still. And it is in Nhava Sheva, Mumbai. So that is also a good institute. And this institute comes to my mind because I have done courses there. So that is what that's why I'm saying all these institutes, So these are really good institutes. Yeah.
Okay. So what is your opinion? Is it advisable to go after 10th grade or 12th grade?
Okay. Going to Merchant Navy, basically, I told you there are various departments and various ranks in Merchant Navy. So if you are planning to go as your final aim is to become a captain, then you have to join as a deck cadet. So the best time to join as a deck cadet is after your 12th. That is the best time, so that by that so that over a period of about 10 years to 12 years, or rather between 8 to 12 years, you can become a captain if you are regularly sailing and you are not taking so much of long vacations, because the sailing time is something which counts to the next promotion and next rank and next examination criteria. If you go out at sea for 6 months and then you stay at home for 1 year, then your sea time will not count faster. So if you sail more in younger ages, then you can become a captain normally in about between 8 and 12 years, depending on your caliber, your reports by the senior officers and senior masters. So that's what it is. And so, as I said, for becoming a captain and joining deck side as a deck cadet, it is better to join after 12. And as I said, after 12, or even after a degree, like, BSc degrees, like any degrees, BSc physics or maths or whatever it is. After a BSc degree also, people are joining as a cadet again, but they will lose this 3 years unwantedly. Okay, they do have another degree, but it doesn't help Merchant Navy much, where you want BSc Nautical Science degree as such for joining once you join. So they have wasted about 3 years in another course. So that is why I said the best is to join after 12. Similarly, for engine side, the best time to join is immediately after the BTech, So rather than people are there coming after MTech. Yes, there
Okay.
are people who are coming after MTech also, but ultimately there is no need for going for MTech. After the BTech in engineering, like mechanical engineering, and
Okay.
even joining as an electrical officer, you can go after the completion of BTech of electronics and communication, electrical or electro telecommunications, etc. They can also join. So that is the right time for
Okay.
them to join. Similarly, for joining as a rating, it is better nowadays you can join after 10th also. So for joining as rating,
Okay.
provided there are certain other requirements like you should be having PCM and all these other criteria, which I can elaborate on further at a later stage. So
Okay.
otherwise they can, for rating, for joining as a rating and including cook or saloon section, they also can join after the 10th standard. So these are
Okay.
the three levels at which you can enter the merchant navy: 10th, 12th, and after graduations.
Okay. Why do you think that merchant navy is a good career option than any other careers?
See, as I told you I think in the second question or something, financially, it's one of the very, very good profession,
Oh,
because at a
okay.
very young age, like at the age of about 22, you start earning at least about 1 lakh to 1.5 lakhs if you are entering as an
Okay.
officer level. And as a rating level, if you join, then you will be getting at least about 30,000, 40,000 rupees a month, in the junior levels I am talking about. And in the rating level itself, once it goes higher, the wages are a little bit more higher. So, and officer itself, you're starting with 1.5 lakhs per month is a good salary. If you think
Yeah.
about the salaries, what packages we are getting on a regular job in India, even abroad. So at a
Okay.
younger age, okay, if the people are long time in a short job and they become very senior, even the doctors or engineers, very senior people, very IT specialists, very senior, okay, they'll be getting very high salary, but not on an initial start off for a normal guys. Okay, otherwise you have to be some cream from some of the great institutes in India, IIT or IIM or all this kind of thing. Then they will be taken by big companies and a big package. That is different.
Yeah.
But on a regular people,
Okay.
normal guys with average caliber, average working style, everything. So income is one of the best part or best, what we say, it's a very bright part of merchant navy. And in a younger age, you can be financially very stable. You can stand on your own legs. You don't have to depend on anybody for money. And the next part, as I told you earlier, is vacation. So vacation itself, you go on a ship for about 5 months contract or a 6 months contract or a 4 months contract, depending on how the company's contract pattern is. You can go for that particular contract and then you can come on leave and you can stay at
Yeah.
leave for as much as you want. If you want to stay for 4 months, you can
Okay.
stay 5 months. 1 month is enough. You can stay. You report to the company as I am ready to join back. Then if vessels are available, they will give you a job that time also. Okay, all this depends on how the market is. If market is bad,
Okay.
the trade is declining, then you may have a slight recession or whatever it is. You may find a bit of difficulty, delay in joining everything. But as of now, the scenarios are good, so there should not be a big
Yeah.
problem in joining and all. So the vacation you can plan, even though you are not paid during your vacations. When you work on a vessel during the contract period, you are paid. While you are off the vessel, you are not paid. Okay, there are certain
Okay.
companies which give you round their wages, but this all depends on the various companies' practice and various companies' packages, just like your normal other
Yes.
IT sector packages or any other companies, private firms packages. So that vacation part is another thing. And as I told you, the wages part. And the another thing is, even after working in merchant navy for quite a long time, if you want to procure a job outside the shipping, like sailing, you have
Yeah.
options outside also. The sailed people, whoever has sailed on merchant navy vessels for quite a long time, there are so many merchant navy related jobs. Rather, maritime industry
Okay.
offers so many jobs for the professionals who have been working out at sea for quite a long time and they want to switch over to a shore carrier. There are so many, even teaching, be it teaching or be it auditing or be it some kind of investigations like accident investigations or anything, chartering business, all these things. You can, okay, you may have to do a little bit of additional courses for all this once you go into a shore job. But still, yes, this all
Okay.
can be done after becoming an officer in merchant navy or engineer in merchant navy. So you have other options. And another thing is
Okay.
that you can visit to so many places, like okay,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
tourist places in general. If you every people knows that, okay, you go to Paris or you go to Tokyo or you go to US, Los Angeles or something. These all are big, big places, everybody knows. But on merchant navy vessels, you go to very remote areas where normal people doesn't go for vacation. So you can go to very remote places, very nice places where you can actually see the real local, whatever it is, local people and mingle with them and all this. Of course, at the same time, you go to big places as well. So seeing places is also a good factor of joining or good thing that merchant navy gives you. Seeing many places around you are actually traveling around the globe, especially towards the north of the world, like, going to Russia or going high up in Finland or all these places where it is fully ice and everything. It all gives a good experience. And toward the south, like Chile and all, normal people from India doesn't go for vacations to Chile because it is normally expensive to go there. But all these places you can visit, like Chile and South Falkland Islands, everything. All these places you can visit, and it's this is one of the best thing about merchant navy, and that too all at the cost of, you are working on a vessel and vessel takes you there and it is good. You are not paying anything additional. And also for your stay on board, we don't, the company doesn't charge you anything, like your food, everything is free of cost. Once you join a vessel, everything is free. So whatever you earn, that is actually goes into your bank accounts unless you spend it outside India or wherever it is for your own personal needs. Otherwise, if you frankly ask me, there is no need for spending for food or anything when you are on board a vessel. So you can send the full amount or little bit amount, at least a chunk of your salary to your accounts where your family needs that money. So it's a financially very, very stable,
Stable
so that is very helpful. Then one more thing is that at a very small age, you are shouldering much higher responsibility. So it gives you a good maturity, or this is out of my experience, what I share, because at a younger age, you will be a little bit more mature and you will see the world and you know the people, how they talk. Okay, if you ask me about the land things, maybe I will not be able to be very shrewd in things which land people handle. But at the same time, you get a much more maturity level with exposure to different nationalities, different people. This is a very, very good exposure, so it gives a very good management skill altogether. People in merchant navy, I have seen that they are very, very good managers. They really know how to manage the things. So they also sure also if you see.
Do they have people management skills are higher?
Yes, that's what in general. If you ask me, the positions in the shore, also the sailing staff, they much occupy the managerial positions. They are good in managing. They know. Yeah, so that's how it works, because they have been dealing with so many nationalities. Like we people, we deal with Ukrainians, we deal with Russians, we deal with Filipinos, and for Brazilians or Chileans, all this, nook and corner of the world, people come for a job. So we deal with all this kind of people with language barriers and everything. We are managing people. Everybody are not very fluent in English. Even the Chinese, all these people, so Filipinos, Chinese, and so many people. So we deal with these people, handle or manage the vessel with all this kind of nationality where there is lots of language barriers, everything. So ultimately, this all gives or adds on to the experience and managerial skill altogether.
Okay, all right. What are the barriers that prevents a student from entering into the industry? Is color blindness a problem?
See, barriers as such, if you ask me, yes, because color blindness is a major problem when you are entering a deck side, because deck side, as per the requirements, see, all this merchant navy ranks, or rather joining merchant navy populated, I fulfill the requirement. So you have eye without color blindness and without any visual aids. You are not supposed to use specs and get a 6x6. Without visual aids, you should have 6x6 eyesight vision without color blindness. So this is a requirement. So without that, you cannot join. Just like, join any of the Navy, Navy also stipulates so many requirements, the height, weight, BMI, all this. Similarly, the requirements are there. So that's required. And also there are age limitations as well. When you are joining as a pre-C cadet or pre-C deck trainee, all this have the age requirements also. You cannot be 30 and you can join as a cadet. No, that's not possible. Just like any other industry, age requirements are there, physical fitness requirements are there, then the psychometric requirements are there. All these requirements are there.
Okay.
So if you are fulfilling with all this kind of medical requirements and you are clearing the exams and you are passionate about it, then you can join. It's not a problem, you know.
Okay,
So
since it's a male-dominated, since it's a male-dominated industry, do women get a chance to get a breakthrough into this profession?
Yes. See, it's of course male-dominated industry. There's absolutely no doubt in it. But these days there are so many people like the ladies coming into this field. From my personal point of view, there is no problem for ladies to come into this field, especially. Only the thing is, you know, our culture, like the Indian culture is a bit different compared to a foreign culture.
Okay.
So the ladies, if you ask me, ladies were there in this profession for quite a long time from outside India. Like so many foreigners are still officers and ratings and everything in the Merchant Navy still. But our system is a bit different. You have a family and we are much bonded to the family, and the general outlook, what people will have when a lady goes out to the sea like a male, it gives a different social feeling towards the, you know, outside world. That is the only thing. Otherwise, ladies can come into Merchant Navy. Even our company also employs ladies, and there are quite a few. I don't know the number, but there are quite a few number of ladies also in my company, and our company really supports, or rather any of the company in India, majority of the companies in India and abroad do support ladies coming into their profession. There is absolutely no problem. So only thing is that once they become, you know, married and then kids, once they have kids, everything, then it becomes little bit difficult for them, just like males, to travel. That's the only thing. But it is up to their family, how the family is going to support them, everything, you know, how the husband is going to act or how react regarding the profession, what support they give from the family. It all depends. Then everything is supported, they also can do. They are not bad. They are really good to do the sea life, you know. Even they can do everything what we people are doing.
Yeah. Okay, Captain. Captain, we would like to know your transition from a deck cadet officer to a captain. So could you please brief us about it?
Okay, so transition from a deck cadet towards the captain. Okay, that I understand. Okay. So in general, you can take my example as the way the career progression of a deck officer will be. You know, when I tell my career progression, it is the same way the other deck officers till the time they reach captain, their progression is in a similar way. So first of all, I started my career as a deck cadet in 2002 after passing out from my 12th grade in one of the schools in Kerala.
Okay.
So after passing out from that school, I joined, which I did from training ship Rahman. So then after completing a 4 months of pre-sea training, at present, the pre-sea training for deck cadet is for a period of 1 year, not 4 months. During 2002, when I did my course, that time it was a 4-month course, but now it is a 12-month course, 12-month residential course. So after that, I went on board the ship for a training of about 36 months. So after the 36 months of onboard training, I went for a preparatory course in a institute called National Institute of Port Management, which is the IMU at present. So there I did second mate's function course, the second mate function course, which was also for a period of about 4 months. Then I appeared under DG Shipping, under the Government of India Director General of Shipping, an exam for the second mate's foreign going license or second mate's foreign going certificate of competency. So after passing these exams, you are provided with a certificate of competency to sail as a second navigating officer on a foreign flag vessel.
Okay.
So after getting that license, the company will normally officer. You will go as a junior officer or a third officer. And once the company assess your capability and your efficiency, everything, and it is appraised by a senior officer like captain, the company will promote him to the next rank of second officer. So that is a normal way a rank is upgraded to a next higher rank. So once you become second mate and you get enough seat time to appear for the next level, that is the next rank chief officer or chief mate, you have to give again exams and you have to do another preparatory course for doing the exams under DG shipping. So I completed that exam as well and I cleared that and I became a chief officer. And becoming a chief officer is again depending on the companies. One, your performance under second officer is good, then the company decides whether you can be promoted. It is not that you are holding a license for serving as a chief officer, you will be directly going as a chief officer. No, you will be sometimes still sailing as a second officer with a superior ticket in your hand or a superior license in your hand. It is a company's discretion based on your appraisals whether you should be promoted to a chief officer. So once you are serving as a chief officer, again you require specific number of sea time or months of sailing. Is what I am meaning by sea time is you have, just like the airline industry, they have flying hours, just like we tell it as sea time. So if you need minimum 36 months or 24 months of sea time for specific exams to be given under the rule of Government of India. So once I completed that specific requirement, I again went for the preparatory class for the captain. So once I complete the preparatory course, again I give another exams with Government of India. They gave me the license of certificate of competency as a captain or as a master, we say. Captain is also known as master, you know. So the certificate of competency as a master's, or it is also known as master's certificate of competency for foreign going vessels. Okay.
So great. So is it possible for a commerce or arts graduate to join as a...
This is how it works. And again, as I said, depending on companies and they feel that you can take over as a captain, then they will promote you as a captain on the vessel. It is for a deck officer, you know.
Okay. Yeah. So, Captain, is it possible for a commerce or arts graduate to join as a deck cadet officer?
So I think your question was your commerce, whether I see normally, okay, I will tell you what are the requirements for being a deck officer, like from the after 12th standard, how a person, and ultimately his aim is to become a captain. So what are the requirements, academic requirements and medical requirements for becoming a deck officer? So normally a commerce person, as you ask, cannot join as a deck cadet. So the requirements for joining as a deck cadet is once he or she passes out from the college or like from the +2 school, he should have opted physics, chemistry, maths plus English as his stream of education, you know, his academic qualification, PCM.
Okay, so English is mandatory, right?
Yes, English should be there. And if it is in the state board, then they have to have specific 60 to 65% in the English language as well. But preferably they prefer PCM with English, you know, English as a medium. But state boards can also, in their local medium, it is approved. But the thing is, they should have minimum 65% in English. So that is the requirement. So this is about physics, chemistry. After 12th standard, a person with physics, chemistry, maths as the subjects, he can have biology also, but physics, chemistry, maths should be there. And then English should be there. And they should have minimum 65% aggregate in this stream, you know. So that is the requirement for a +2 candidate. Now, when you come to a graduate, if somebody has gone for a BSc Physics or BSc Mathematics or BSc Chemistry, or BSc Electronics, they also still can apply to become a deck officer as a cadet or deck cadet, you know. So for that, he should be having physics as one of the subjects in any of the 3 years. For example, BSc Maths he has taken. Then he should have physics as one of the subjects in any of the 3 years what he has actually done the BSc degrees, you know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, and same way he should have done PCM in like 11th and 12th, because anyway, if you're going for a science graduate, he should have obviously done physics, chemistry, maths in the
Yes.
11th and 12th.
Yeah.
And he should have an English also, and they should have an aggregate of about 65%, 60%, 60 to 65% again in the degree courses also. So that is what the
Okay.
requirements. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So even
yeah. So how about engineering graduates?
even BSc electronics also is possible, provided he has done.
Okay.
Yes, for the graduates. And the age limit when you are applying for the course of DEC Cadet should be maximum 25 years. If you are more than 25, then you cannot apply for the
DEC Cadet.
course.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. This is regarding the age. And if you ask me about the normal medical fitness, he should be normally medically fit under the ILO medical requirements. And it is a very basic requirement. There is no big requirements. It's the bare minimum. His health-wise, he should be.
Is there any criteria regarding height, weight, etc.?
Absolutely fine. And the another requirement is eyesight for a job. See, weight and all specifically, I cannot tell you, but it is a general requirement. It should not be, normal Asians with BMI of around 20 to 24, 26 range should be fine. That is a normal BMI requirement. So it's Asians typical range, especially for Indians, so that is more than enough. And the other things are other medical, there should not be any major complications with your systems, And also the requirement is for a DEC Cadet. He should have a minimum of his eyesight should be of 6x6 normal vision without any aids, you should have specs or also color blindness should not be there. Normal color vision. And each of the eyes should be 6x6 without any visual aids. So that's the requirement regarding the eyesight and the normal color vision. No color blindness is allowed for the DEC Cadet. So this is the general requirement for being a DEC Cadet. I think it's very clear by now so how to join. So after 12th, in general, after 12th, you can join as a DEC Cadet, provided he has taken physics, chemistry, maths as a stream with English as one of the subjects also. And BSc physics, chemistry, maths or electronics with physics as one of the subject in any one of the year, plus the medical requirement which is required, So this is how the main requirements wise it is.
Okay. So that means student after 10th, if he's passionate to join Merchant Navy, he should go for this PCMB option. PCM with English option, right?
Yes, that's right. So English medium is fine. Normal English medium, as I said, nowadays everybody is into English mediums and all, it should not be a problem.
True. Okay. What are the qualifications that are required to join as a trainee engineer? Is it the same?
Last question you asked me regarding for the requirement it is slightly different. DEC Cadet is a navigation side, and engineering is basically the technical side. So for joining as a technical engineer, like we normally join as junior engineers, if you are talking about the engineers, engine cadet, even we say engine cadet, then later on as a junior engineer, then fourth engineer, third engineer, second engineer, and then chief engineer. So this is how the progression, rank progression goes in the engine side. So the ultimate aim is to become a chief engineer. So they have to join as a engine cadet. So for that, what they have to do is, initially he should have completed the normal engineering, either that is BTech with mechanical engineering. So after that, they can join as an engine cadet for trainee engineer in the institutes. Then they will offer a pre-C course. And after completing the pre-C course, they can join as a on-board training. Then after that, once they complete the on-board training, they can come back to India or wherever they want to give the exams. They have to give the Government of India exams for becoming fourth engineer or a third engineer. That license is known as class 4. And this is like how I did my second mates. It's known as a class 4. Then once they complete this class 4 under Government of India, or even you can do outside India as well. But I'm just telling based on Indian this thing, So once they complete, they can join us. Later on, the company will promote them to third engineer. Then comes for becoming a chief engineer's license holder, So that is how it goes
Okay.
for the engine side. So basically,
Yeah.
they have to be mechanical engineering with 60% marks at least in the engineering, and English also.
Okay.
And next to the age requirement, and their eyesight
Okay.
is requirement is only 6/12, not 6/6. For the navigation,
Oh,
people
okay.
need 6/6, but the
Okay.
engineering side
Six.
requires only 6/12 eyesight with normal color vision. No color blindness is allowed.
Okay.
But
Okay.
6/12 with specs and everything is fine. It's not a problem.
Okay.
So that is
So,
how the engineering side is.
how about
Now,
electronics and computer science? Do they
yeah,
join? Can they join as well?
yes, electronics and not computer science, electronics and
Electrical.
communication, or electronics and
Electronics and
telecommunication.
electrical.
Yeah,
Oh,
electronics and
telecommunication.
electrical.
Okay.
Yeah, these
Uh-huh.
category of
Okay.
candidates, they also can join Merchant Navy technical side as electro-technical officers. They are generally called
Electrotechnical
electro-technical
officer.
officers or electrical officers in
Okay.
general. So for
Uh-huh.
them also, they once they have this exams, everything, once they complete the BTech, they can directly apply for their post, and they also have to do, once they are selected in any of the companies, they also have to do a 4-month preparatory, rather pre-C course prior joining. As I have explained earlier, as per the DG shipping, everybody who is going to go on a ship for a job has to mandatorily do pre-C training. So for electrotechnical officers, it is about 4 months. So 4 months training
Uh-huh.
they have to do, and they have to go as a
Okay.
trainee electrical officer, then again as a electrical officer, depending upon the this thing, depending upon the promotions given by the company, and also they have to get a certificate of competency from the government of also has to get certificate of competency, but they don't have different ranks. They are completing their gradation, or rather progression, with that single exam. Once they complete, they have the license,
Okay.
and their post is limited to electrical officer. They don't have any further positions. So they have only this one exam, and once they clear it, they can go as electrical officers, depending on company's company judgment on your performance. So that is about electrical officers joining on a merchant vessel. Yes. So another thing you may have doubt is similar to with the GP rating course also, where ratings.
Yeah.
So as I said
Yeah.
earlier, people can join after becoming ratings, like after for becoming ratings, they can join after the 10th standard. So 10th standard also, the requirements is they should have done mathematics and science with minimum 40% aggregates,
Percent. In 10th.
So
In
in
10th.
10th standard, in 40% aggregate in maths and science subject with 40%, and English should be there as one of the subject. So that is a requirement. Yeah. And again, for ratings, the age cutoff is 25, between 18 to 25.
Okay.
Yeah. Age should be between 18 to 25.
Okay.
Because normally we people pass out the 10th in 16 years. If you ask me, by age of
15 to 16. 15 to 16,
yes, but with this age, you cannot join shipping, because shipping minimum requirement is 18 years. Above 18 years only they can join shipping. It's an international requirement as well. So even if they have passed 10th, they cannot immediately join if their age doesn't fall between 18 and 25. It is only if somebody has taken commerce or something in the +2, and then later on realize they want to join shipping, still they can join, but not as an officer, but as a rating, because their age, everything, and what I mean. That way you can join, but not as an officer. As a rating, they can join. And and the another requirement is normally as I said, medical requirements as standard requirements. So that is BMI should be between 20 to 30, this kind of requirements, all normal. And the eyesight vision is 6/6 or 6/9, depending upon which department you are joining. If it is a deck department, then it has to be.
Okay, fine.
6/6 for them also, 58
Yeah.
minimum height. I mean, minimum, 158 centimeters. They say, but it depends on ILO medical requirements. When you go for the medicals, then they will tell you whether you are
Uh-huh.
capable, I mean, allowed or not. So that is for the ratings.
Okay.
And
Uh-huh.
regarding the cook also, like the chief cooks,
Yeah.
chief cook
Okay.
also, we can, yeah. Can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, chief cook is also the same thing. Requirements after 10th, the requirements just like a rating, everything.
Okay.
CCMC course, CCMC course.
TCMC course. Is it like a
So
hotel management?
certificate course on maritime catering. Yeah.
Oh, maritime catering is just okay. Oh, I didn't
You
know
cannot
that.
say that it is a full. Okay, it's a CCMC catering certificate
Okay.
course for catering in maritime certification.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so that is about the CCMC course, and their pre-sea training is 6 months, and later on they can join the vessel. So that is how the
Okay.
different sections and how you can join the vessels. And
Okay.
for above all this, there are certain methods, which I like to specify to all the viewers or who are listeners of this webinar. The main thing what I
Yeah.
used to tell is, as I told earlier, people has to join in a very, very reputed institute where they are going
Institutes.
to
Okay.
learn these courses. It is not that any institute you go spend the money and later on you will land up without getting any jobs. So
Yeah.
with respect to officers rank, or rather passing out from the 12th merchant navy, or rather for like you apply for a university. So once you go through that test and their medical fitness, as I said earlier, eyesight, medical fitness, everything is confirmed. So everything is in order.
Yeah.
And you also got selected in the common entrance test in this institute, in this IMU course, IMU campuses. Then if any of the companies come for a campus selection, then only you can complete and once you get selected in these companies who come for the campus selection, then only you can complete the another 3 semesters, basically 3, 4, 5 semesters you can complete only if you got selected in any companies through campus selection. So if you are not completing a good, I mean, if you are not having a good report from the IMU and your marks are low, or the campus selecting companies didn't pick you up or didn't select you, then you will land up without getting a company to complete your onboard training of 18 months. So it's a difficult situation. Everybody cannot get campus selections. It depends on the market as well. Sometimes the shipping companies need so many people, so they will come to the outside market and take the people from IMU and other training institutes across India. So once the market is less, then it is like a supply and demand chain, where the supply is supply and demand, something like that.
I understood.
So that so that way the people who are paying so much or taken loans and learning in the institute will land up sometimes in trouble because they cannot find a company on which they can go and complete the ship onboard training after they have done the pre-sea college training.
Pre-sea training, college training.
So this is one of the method. Okay, if they are getting selected in the companies, then they can go and complete their training on board ships for another 18 months, and then they can come back and give the Government of India exams, and then they can clear everything, and then they will get a job in the same company usually. Now, now the second method, or the most preferred method, is usually all the private companies conduct exams for selecting their candidates or their students through their own separate exams. Okay. So so it will be coming in the newspapers or sometimes in the shipping sites or somewhere, or you approach some of the shipping companies. Then if you ask the shipping companies in general, they will tell you when they are going to conduct these exams. Usually 2 times a year, I think 2 times a year, I'm not very sure, but still they conduct the exams. And if you get selected in this company, you are already sponsored by this company for doing the other further onboard training.
Okay.
So if you once you get selected in this company, they will IMU
Okay.
codes, IMU in campuses.
Okay.
Then if any of the companies come for a campus selection, then only you can complete and once you get selected in these companies who come for the campus selection, then only you can complete the another 3 semesters, basically 3, 4, 5 semesters you can complete only if you got selected in any companies through campus selection. So if you are not completing a good, I mean, if you are not having a good report from the IMU and your marks are low or the campus selecting companies didn't pick you up or didn't select you, then you will land up without getting a company to complete your onboard training of 18 months. So it's a difficult situation. Everybody cannot get campus selections. It depends on the market as well. Sometimes the shipping companies need so many people, so they will come to the outside market and take the people from IMU and other training institutes across India. So once the market is less, then it is like a supply and demand chain, where the supply is supply and demand, something like that.
Understood.
So that so that way the people who are paying so much or taken loans and learning in the institute will land up sometimes in trouble because they cannot find a company on which they can go and complete the ship onboard training after they have done the pre-C college training.
Pre-C training, college training.
So this is one of the method. Okay, if they are getting selected in the companies, then they can go and complete their training on board ships for another 18 months, and then they can come back and give the Government of India exams, and then they can clear everything, and then they will get a job in the same company usually. Second method, which is the most preferred method, is once you get selected in any shipping companies through their exams, like private shipping companies conducts their own exams at intervals of time, usually once or twice a year, I suppose. But this this has to be cross-checked, I think once or twice a year you have to be cross-checked. I'm not very sure. But anyway, once your company selects you, a private company selects you as a deck cadet, then they are sponsoring you as a deck cadet. That means for your 18 months onboard training after the one year pre-C course, they will assure you that 18 months pre-C course you can do it on our ships. So once you complete pre-C course in their institutes or any other institutes which they refer you to go and do it, once you complete the pre-C.
So Captain, we are going to wind up the session. So would you like to add something more for our Merchant Navy aspirants?
Before winding up this session, or rather before ending this session of webinar on Merchant Navy or opting Merchant Navy as a career, I like to stress on certain important things when you are opting colleges and when you are opting companies, or rather you are putting your step forward for obtaining or fetching Merchant Navy as a career, be it any rank, it is an officer rank or a technical rank or as a rating. There are very, very important things you should remember before going into any of the colleges or before approaching any agents or anybody who is going to tell you that, okay, come here and we will give you the opportunity to serve on ships and you can go and become an officer in Merchant Navy or a rating in a Merchant Navy. So first and the foremost thing you should remember is you should always go through the proper channels after reading everything about a particular institute or a particular company. You should not approach any agent just like that and they say that, okay, you come pay 50,000 or 1 lakh rupees, then you will give you job or we will send you for training, and then later on after 1 year or 3 year you can join ship and you can earn so much. No, don't just go blindly by the words of the people. You have to ask or talk to the people in the industry whom you know, or rather you can get in touch with, So Aura Shikshana can always help you in this thing by contacting me through Aura Shikshana or something like that. I can always give the best help I can do to the people in giving the informations to an extent. So that is the main important factor you should think about it. Another thing is regarding the colleges, as I said in one of the earlier question, all the colleges or training institutes in India are approved by the Director General of Shipping, and make sure whichever college you opt, make sure it is a well approved colleges, and you do the, or rather enter the college in a proper channel, not like paying money or not like just through some agents. No, in that cases you are most, or rather you have high chances of getting into trouble. So that is important. There will be exams by the colleges. There will be exam by the Indian Maritime University called the Common Entrance Test for the deck cadets. So pass that exams and go for the counseling, and then you get allotted in the colleges. So that is a proper method. Or as I said in some of the earlier questions, there are another method where you approach the private companies where they conduct the exams for taking you as a cadet in their company. Once they take you as a cadet in their company, then you also have to go for IMU Common Entrance Test again, and in that case you are joining the institute as sponsor candidate or sponsor cadet by the company. This, as I said, the sponsorship doesn't mean that they will pay for your courses. It is just that once you complete the shore training, rather the pre-sea training, you are given a sea berth, or rather an opportunity to sail on their company vessels to complete the next semesters or next session of the onboard training part. That is the only thing meant by the sponsorship. So it is always better you go with sponsorship in the institutes and complete the pre-sea training. Otherwise, you may land up searching for the opportunity to sail on board to complete your on-board training. In that case, if you are not getting a campus selection for going for an on-board training from the institutes by a company, you will hunt for jobs and it will be very difficult for you. So it's always preferable to get selected in a particular company through the company's exams, then go for IMU's Common Entrance Test for the deck cadet side for fetching the institutes and later on study, and go back to the same company for completing the on-board training and later on job in the same company. That is the better method. There are so many companies or rather institutes in India. I don't want to specifically tell you this institute is good and this institute is bad. There are, but I can tell you from my experiences and the institutes which I studied, there are institutes like Training Ship Rahman, Anglo-Eastern Maritime Academy, and in Kerala, if you ask me, Eurotech Industry, then IMU, direct IMUs, Indian Maritime University colleges across India, like you have it in Cochin, you have it in Chennai where it is the headquarters, and there are so many universities. Even in Chennai, you have Hindustan Institute of Maritime Training, HIMT. So these are some of the institutes where I learned. So it is nothing biased to any of these institutes, but all are good institutes. So you can always approach these institutes to know much about the courses and much genuine details about the courses, rather than going to any other simple person or a normal guy and ask whether this college is good. You call up the institute, you Google and find out which are the best institutes and check with them and ask and talk to the people, like talk to the people in the industry, whether they know this college, if I approach this college, how to go about it, everything. So that is how you have to be careful about when you are opting the colleges and the companies. And also the companies operating from India. There are so many companies in India, but make sure you do your job in a good company. If you go for any of the small companies where they doesn't have ships and they will promise you through some agent you will get into some companies, and ultimately they will send you on ships, and ultimately when your contract expires you cannot sign off, you can, in an emergency you cannot come back home, or the wages will not be paid properly. All this kind of things can happen with very bad companies which doesn't have much reputation. Also, India has given an approval number for the companies which are approved by Government of India to operate from India. This all companies have some approval known as the RPSL number or the RPSL approval. So this kind of approval is a must for the good companies operating in India. So make sure when you join any company, this company has this approval, the RPS license, so RPSL we call. So this kind of approval should be there for the private companies which operates from India, and make sure you join those kind of companies after checking with the many people in the industry whether this company is good. If you go to this company, will there be any problems affecting me in future with the salary, with coming back on land after the sailing, and how it is, all the emergency support offered by the company in any emergencies. All these things has to be taken into account. So as a final word, let me assure you, it is one of the best professions. You can always say or rather go, but make sure you go through proper channel, understand about the companies, institute, courses, everything very thoroughly with the people whom you know. Then you approach for the job and you go and make a good success in your life. All the very best for the people who has watched Aura Shishana's webinar session, Q&A session arranged. Hopefully this will help you to clear many of your doubts, and you are always most welcome towards Aura Shikshana for asking further queries. They can help you out through liaising with various people in the maritime industry for further clarifications of any of your doubt. Thank you and bye.